Warning: this video contains infrequent use of full language, which is not suitable for anyone under the age of 16. Anyways, without delays, enjoy the show, and remember to subscribe.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Gillson, time to go to court.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Carter, time to go to court.
Order in the court. I'm taking place for Judge Davidson as he got fired for sentencing someone to life in prison for no reason. Anyways, today's case is the people of Masonville City versus Bob Gillson, Kim Gillson, Maxwell Carter, and Brianna Carter. So you four, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Read the charges, Your Honor.
Okay. Bob and Kim Gillson, you both are charged with child abuse, child neglect, assault and battery, and even possession of weapons. As for you Maxwell and Brianna Carter, you both are charged with assault only. You were lucky the victim wasn't younger than 16, otherwise you would have had another charge. Would anyone like to call themselves to the stand? Okay, it will go like this. First Dylan, then Aurora, then Bailey, and finally, Cynthia. So Dylan, what would you like to tell us about Bob, Kim, Maxwell, or Brianna?
Honestly, what I would like to tell about Bob and Kim, who are my parents, is this. Mum, Dad, I used to love you with all of my heart, but not anymore after what you did to Bailey. I also can't believe you manipulated us into assaulting him for making NSFW content, and thanks to your stupidity, me and my girlfriend had to spend a week in prison. But at least we didn't have to eat prison food because back then, we were well behaved, so there. As for Max and Brianna, my girlfriend's parents, well, I have nothing to say about them to be honest. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you Dylan. Next up is Aurora. So Aurora, what could you tell us about your parents or your boyfriends?
For my boyfriend's parents, the same thing that Dylan said. When I spent a week in prison, I almost cried in tears. But luckily, Luigi Fan 2006 saved our lives by paying our bail. And also, I could have been sentenced to life or could have got the death penalty if Bailey was younger than 16, and charged with child abuse as well. As for my parents, well, you could have simply not assaulted Bailey and could have ignored Bob's club that he gave you as a gift, and just called the police. I get it, what Bailey did was wrong, but you could have not took things to extreme. Period. And by the way, I hope you learn a lesson for this conduct once you get released from prison. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you Aurora. Next up is Bailey. So Bailey, what could you tell us about your parents or Aurora's parents?
For Aurora's parents, the only things are that you both could have not took it too far on me when I assaulted Aurora, something I regret now. As for my parents, I honestly can't believe you abused me ever since the day we moved out of Norwich. I can't believe you abandoned Bradley that day in a foster home as well. And because of you both, I took things to a whole new level by shooting Peter's best friend, now girlfriend, in the leg, making NSFW content, and then assaulting Aurora as well. I also can't believe you disowned me just because of all of that. And thanks to you both, I spent the whole summer of 2023 in jail with nothing to eat except prison food. And here are my last words to my abusive parents. I hope you have fun spending the rest of your pathetic lives in prison, because face it, child abusers like you deserve it.
Okay. Thank you Bailey. Last but not least, is Cynthia, and then it will be the time for the verdict. So Cynthia, what would you like to tell us about any of these four?
I don't have anything to say about Mr. and Mrs. Carter, but I do have something to say to my brother and my sister-in-law. Bob, my only brother, I thought you were better than this, but no. You just had the fucking balls to abuse Bailey just for the hell of it. I would have been a better mother for him. And when I told this to Mum and Dad, they were fucking disgusted to hear about what you have done. You are the worst brother I could have ever asked for. And here are my final words to both Bob and Kim. I hope you two rot behind bars for the rest of your life, and I hope you also get the death penalty in the future.
Those final words you said to them were kinda too far, but thank you, Cynthia. You may return to your seat.
No problem, and I'm sorry if I said that.
Mr. Speaker, have you reached a verdict?
Yes. The jury has officially reached a verdict to the case of Masonville City versus Bob and Kim Gillson, plus Maxwell and Brian Carter.
What's your verdict?
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Mr. and Mrs. Gillson, and Mr. and Mrs. Carter, the court has found you guilty for child abuse, child neglect, assault and battery, and several other crimes. Mr. and Mrs. Gillson, you two are hereby sentenced to life in prison with no parole, and Mr. and Mrs. Carter, you are hereby sentenced to 3 years in prison with possible parole for the final semester of 2024 and for the first semester of 2025. Officer Thomas, grab Mr. and Mrs. Gillson away from the courthouse, and Officer Dennis, take Mr. and Mrs. Carter away.
You are not gonna get away with this bullshit. We'll be back and you know it. And Bailey, I hope you go fucking die in a fire, and I wish we wouldn't give birth to a fool like you.
Shut the fuck up, asshole. You ain't gonna do shit, because you're gonna spend the rest of your life in prison. Now get inside the goddamn police car, or else I will test you.
Case dismissed. You are all free to go.
Babe, have you found my sister's toys?
Yes. Just come into her room and help me pack them in her suitcase.
Okay. And by the way, is her closet empty?
Yes. Her closet is empty. So therefore, she's all ready to go and spend 3 years in Barcelona. Honestly, I don't know why we are going to spend this weekend in Barcelona with your relatives. I still don't get it.
Listen, honey. We have to do this for the sake of my sister, who's going to spend the next 3 years in Barcelona, which is the exact same amount my parents are gonna be in prison.
Oh. I almost forgot. Honestly, I feel bad for your sister. My parents should have never thought about starting all of this fuckery.
Yeah! I just don't want her to spend the next 3 years in child protection services. And also, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousins will treat you with respect, I promise.
Okay, hopefully they do. You did talk to me some nice things about your oldest cousin, so therefore.
Okay. Though we can't drive this bad boy to Barcelona, I packed it all up. Also, once we get to 7190 Lifty Street Station to get the underground to the airport, there's one thing left. I'll have to leave a note in the front of the car saying that it will stay parked in there for 2 days, otherwise my car could be retired and I could get fined. Anyways, let me see. Hazel's booster, check. Our luggage, check. Hazel's luggage, check. Hazel's toys, check. Hey, am I forgetting something? Let me check. Oh yeah. I'm almost forgetting my laptop. I already have my purse, and as well as Dylan's bag. Babe, can you bring my laptop downstairs? I forgot to pack it on the car.
Okay. I'll bring it to you downstairs in a few seconds.
Hey kids, come downstairs, and come say goodbye to Dylan and Aurora, as they are about to leave to Barcelona.
Well guys, it's time. It's time that we leave 3 days to Barcelona. But don't worry, we'll be back by Sunday. And we will also send you guys a picture when we arrive.
That's nice, Dylan. And by the way, I'll miss you so much. Just please, when you have time, have a video call with us. And also, send us some pictures from Barcelona.
Oh, don't worry Haley, cause we will. And also, we must get going now. Before we go, there's one more thing. Haley, could you give me a hug?
Okay. Here's the plan. First of all, we pick up Hazel from the Child Protection Services home. Second, we leave the car parked near 7190 Lifty Street Station. And third, we take the underground to the airport and tada, we are in Barcelona. And to get to the airport with metro, we have to do this. First, we have to take the line 10 at 7190 Lifty Street Station. And finally, at Masonville Airport Parkway, we have to change for the line 12, which will leave us in the terminal.
Well, if it isn't Hazel Carter's oldest sister and her boyfriend. Aren't you supposed to be in jail?
Not anymore. We apologize to everyone for your actions towards Bailey, and then, the creator of this video paid our bail.
Oh, okay. Anyways, you're here for Hazel, right? I did hear that your parents have been sentenced to 3 years and that your boyfriend's parents got the life sentence.
Yep. And of course, we are taking her. I have relatives that can take care of her for these next 3 years.
Okay. Hazel Carter, come downstairs.
Hi Hazel.
Hi Aurora. I'm glad to see you again.
I'm glad to see you again as well. Anyways, let's go to the car. We are going to take you to Aunt Linda and Uncle David. You'll spend the next 3 years with them.
Okay.
Farewell Hazel. It was nice having you here. Hope everything goes well. And have a nice day.
Dylan, Aurora? Why are you taking me to Aunt Linda and Uncle David? Don't you know they live far away in Barcelona?
Hazel, we have no other choice. I prefer that you spend the next 3 years with family rather than at Child Protection Services. So therefore, you have to go. But, I'm gonna miss you. And don't worry, cause the day me and Dylan go back to Masonville, I promise I'll give you a very big hug. And I packed you a family picture so you can remember us when you are out.
Hello. Welcome to the Masonville City Airport. How may I help you?
At the name of Aurora Carter, we have 3 tickets to Barcelona reserved.
Okay. So, it says that those tickets were already paid. So therefore, here you have them. Enjoy your flight.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day, sir.
You too.
Attention. Next flight to Barcelona will be boarding on gate 11.
Atención.
El próximo vuelo a Barcelona abordarà por la puerta 11.
Atenció.
El proper vol a Barcelona embarcarà a la porta 11.
That's our flight. Well Hazel, looks like this is the first time you travel aboard a plane. But for me, well, it's like the 3rd time. I did go to other cities with Mum and Dad before you were born.
You did? You never told me that. Where did you go before your sister was born?
Well Dylan, I'm sorry if I didn't do so. I went to Brussels when I was 12, and I went to Ibiza when I was 8. I have pictures of those places in my flat.
Wow. I didn't know you traveled to somewhere that wasn't Barcelona. I get it, you traveled there so many times with your parents, but I didn't know you traveled somewhere else that wasn't the city. Anyways babe, you promised me to show pictures of those places when we go back to Masonville City on Sunday? I'd love to see them.
Yes I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived to Barcelona. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you have a nice day.
Damas y caballeros. Ya hemos llegado a Barcelona. Gracias por volar con nosotros hoy. Esperamos que tengas un buen día. Senyores i senyors. Ja hem arribat a Barcelona. Gràcies per volar amb nosaltres avui. Esperem que tingueu un bon dia.
Alright, here we are. You know how to travel in Barcelona's metro, right?
Yes. Getting to my aunt and uncle's house is easy. Firstly, we take this current line, which is the Line 9 South branch, and then we take off at Cold Lake Station. Next, we transfer to the Line 5, and it's 4 stations up to Cornellà Center, exactly at St. Ildefonso Station. That's the nearest station to my aunt and uncle's house. Very simple.
Okay. So looks like we'll wait for the train to arrive. And I see that it's arriving in a minute.
One thing you guys should note. This train is fully automatic. It won't take long to depart compared to Masonville City's metro. Oh, looks like the door closing signal went off. That means the train is departing now.
Próxima estación. Next station. Aurora. Terminal 2.
One question, honey, is Barcelona's metro entirely underground, and as well as entirely automatic?
Lines 9 and 10 are entirely automatic. And Barcelona Metro has some above-ground stations. A few noted examples are Santa Lucía and Ketno on the line 1 and Camboises on the line 5.
I see. Maybe we'll see some open views of the line 5 depot. Is it in Camboises, right?
Correct.
I'll go get the door. I wonder who's there. James and Elvira, your cousins are at the door wanting to see you.
Elvira, James,
Aurora, Hazel.
yep, it's us. And oh my god, I missed you so much. I haven't saw you in first person since 2019 or so.
Hey, we did miss you as well. I'm glad to see you both again.
Come on Aurora, just give me a very big hug.
Sit on, Aurora and Hazel, make yourselves in.
Hey Aurora, would you like to sleep with me for these days you and your boyfriend are spending?
I would be glad to do so. And by the way, would you mind if me and my boyfriend sleep in your room?
I don't mind him in my room, but one thing is that he'd have to get changed in the restroom or either get changed after both of us do.
Okay.
So Elvira, would you mind telling me a bit about yourself?
Okay. As you may know, my cousin's middle name is Jessica, but my middle name is Willow. Anyways, I was born on the 28th of July 2005. And you might ask, why do I sound like this? Well, it's a short story, but I have aphonia since I was 5. Aphonia means you can't make yourself heard because your voice sounds hoarse, or you can't speak above a whisper. As well as sometimes you can't even speak at all. And because of that, I drink a lot of water. But over these past 14 years, I still have it. And I consider myself lucky that I didn't lose my vocal cords completely, otherwise I would end up like how Stephen Hawking did. But aside that, my hobbies are playing video games, chat with my friends, and as well as writing stories about my life or even my family's life, and as well as my friends. I normally write them on notebooks, but sometimes I write them on my laptop with Microsoft Word. Anyways, what about you?
I was born on the 15th of October 2004. I was born in Norwich, but moved to Masonville City in November 2006. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. You probably would like to meet them. And the reason of why Hazel is moving with you and your parents, well, it's a very long story. So probably, your parents might tell you at dinner time or something. Anyways, my hobbies are taking pictures, playing video games, spending time with friends as well as my girlfriend. But one question, when did you move to Barcelona, and how come?
That's a good question. We moved to Barcelona in June 2011, and it was because my dad found a better working place as a computer engineer. His previous one in Masonville City was his own company. He established it with two other guys. After the economic crisis in 2008, things for him didn't go well. And because of that, he shut down the company in 2010. He was looking for so many job places. We had to sell our house in Masonville City. We sold it by March 2011 to move in here.
Well, that's a great sorry. I'm sorry you all had to go through that, by the way. But I'm glad you started a better life in Barcelona.
Thank you. I couldn't imagine how hard it was for me to move out of Masonville City. But hey, over these past years, I got used to Barcelona. It's not a bad city overall. This is the Sagrada Familia. This place has been under construction for over 100 years, since 1882. But it was consecrated in 2010. The style of this place is likened to Spanish late Gothic as well as Catalan modernism. Visitor entrance fees of €15 to €20 finance the annual construction budget of 25 million.
I see. It's reasonable why there is a crane near the basilica. And plus, I did read about this place on Wikipedia.
I see. Barcelona has so many popular spots to visit. Anyways, let's continue on to the next one. 4 stations east on the line 5, and 5 stations west on the line 1, and we made it. This is the Arc de Triomphe. Paris has a similar arch to this one, so hopefully you don't get confused if you are planning to travel to Paris as well.
Hey, that's a good tip. Dylan and I have plans to travel to Paris in the future, so therefore.
That's great. Anyways, let's move on to the next site and maybe stop for lunch, cause all of us are slightly hungry at this point.
So, Pesquet de Gracia is meant to look like this, right?
That's right. It looks like this. Anyways, here's some brief history.
Formerly known as Camí de Jesus, Jesus Road, the Passeig de Gracia was originally little more than a quasi-rural lane surrounded by gardens joining Barcelona and Gracia, which was then still a separate town. This was still the case at the time of the first urbanization project in 1821, which was devised by the Liberal City Council, and led by Ramon Plan as well. This project had to be cancelled due to the epidemics that were raging in Barcelona at the time. After the demise of the Liberal government with the return of absolutism in 1824, the project was taken up again by General Jorge Bernardo de Queiroz, Marquis of Campo Sagrado. The new avenue was 42 meters wide in 1827 and became a favorite place for aristocrats to display their horse riding skills and expensive horse-drawn carriages. That all took place in the 19th century.
Last but not least, the government of the Basque Country was based in Passeig de Gracia, 60 during the Spanish Civil War. The Catalan poet Salvador Espriu resided in Casa Fusta.
Hey, I guess that's some good facts right there. I forgot to read about this site on Wikipedia. I did only read about the Sagrada Familia, so therefore.
So Dylan, what do you think of our restaurants in Barcelona?
Very good. In Barcelona, you have so much more great things compared to Masonville. And honestly, burgers taste really good. And this is definitely better than McDonald's.
I'm glad you liked Comet's Burgers, Dylan. We have tried this when it first opened in around 2013 or so. These burgers are like, oh my god, I wanna eat these every day.
Yeah. Hell, maybe you would also try their sandwiches next time you and Aurora come back to spend some period of time with us in Barcelona.
Of course, I will.
I have to say, this day out around Barcelona was amazing. I will still remember this when me and Dylan go back to Masonville tomorrow.
I'm glad you got satisfied with this day out. Hopefully I have the same feeling to share when we go to your home city as well. And Aurora, since Aunt Bryna and Uncle Maxwell are in prison, and as well as that we have plans to go to Masonville for the summer estimatedly, would you open your house for us?
Of course we will. Whilst they are in prison, my only owned house is open to you and everyone around me. And by the way, for these next 3 years, please take care of Hazel.
Don't worry, my lovely cousin. Yes, we will. However, we have to sign her up to a school in Barcelona. But she'd have to repeat year 1. Hopefully you're fine with that.
Don't worry. I'm fine with it, as there's a very good reason to that. Anyways, enough talking and let's go to sleep. And again, thanks for letting me and Dylan share a room with you.
No problem. And good night to you too.
Good night.
Good night. Hey Linda, this special breakfast you made for us today tastes so good. I wish I could eat this more.
Thank you. I did put so much effort onto making this and give you and Aurora a nice journey back to Masonville City.
That's no problem, Aunt Linda.
Well Dylan, hope you and Aurora had fun with us this weekend.
I did. I would definitely go back to this city someday if Aurora wants to. But, on the other side, we have a future trip to Paris planned too.
That's right. Oh, and by the way, Uncle David, would you mind dropping us off to the airport?
Of course, I don't. I would do anything for you, my beautiful and beloved niece.
That's great. Can Elvira come with us too?
Of course, I will. That means I would have a bit more of time with you. And overall, your boyfriend wasn't bad either. He was a really kind person. I get it, he can sometimes be aggressive, but on the bottom of his heart, he's still a kindful and respectful person. Anyways, we gotta get going, otherwise you'll miss the plane.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
Oh, and before we go, could I say my last words to Hazel?
Okay.
Hazel, I just can't let it go of what happened almost a year ago. It's definite, Mum and Dad have to spend 3 years in prison, and you have to spend those next 3 years over here. And I'm literally going to miss you so much. I get it, I did pick on you in the past, but still. You are one more person to remember in my heart. Leaving you just makes me depressed.
There. It's okay, honey. At least you will have me by your side for these next 3 years. I understand that you don't want to forget about it, but still.
Cousins, we understand that you are going to go through a hard time for these next 3 years. But remember, your sister, your cousins, and everyone around you still love you so much.
All of us love you in our hearts, and we'll never forget you. We will
Aurora, you get with stuff like this is hard to forget, but you ought to understand that your parents are in prison, and we are the only ones to take care of your sister.
Now, please, just stop crying. I'll remember you in our family pictures. And also, you are the best sister ever, and I love you so much. And remember this, me, Aunt Linda, Uncle David, and as well as our cousins James and Elvira promise to gift you something better for your 20th birthday. Okay? Deal?
You both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong, and what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost.
You know, Hazel, I guess you're right. Our parents are not the ones who to blame, because all of this fuckery was started by Dylan's parents. If Dad didn't accept Mr. Gillson's club gift, then maybe none of this shit would have started in the first place. Anyways, now, I'm feeling a little bit better. Uncle David, could you take us to the airport now? I just want to go and forget all about this in peace at Masonville City.
Okay, let's get going.
Anyways, farewell Hazel. And farewell Aunt Linda and James. We'll see ourselves around in summer.
Farewell Aurora, and farewell Dylan.
Farewell to you both, and have a safe trip back to Masonville City.
Farewell.
It's been a long day without you, my friend.
You know what, I'm just gonna go to my room.
And I'm gonna go wash some dishes. Hazel, would you like to help me wash the dishes?
Sure.
Okay then, let's go.
We began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Hey Uncle David, when are you gonna make your reservations for Masonville City?
Around April or May. We still have to look and compare hotel prices, and everything like that. We have no idea how much days are we going to stay at either.
And also, we don't want our trip to be so overpriced. We'll try looking for cheap airlines and everything like that. But don't worry, cause we will be in Masonville for you. And by the way, Diane, what did you think about this weekend out of Masonville City?
Fantastic. I certainly liked the food in the restaurant we ate yesterday. All of the things we visited in Barcelona were amazing overall. My favorite things I visited so far were the Mary Magnum Shopping Center, the Sagrada Familia and the Catalonia Square. And also, if you did not know, Masonville has changed throughout these past 13 years ever since you moved out. You probably wouldn't remember anything of Masonville City since then.
Okay Ned, I'll keep that in mind. I hope those changes throughout they're not so terrible, but not as terrible as the Catalonia independence bullshit. Sorry if I brought up politics. And don't worry, cause we don't support the Catalonia independence.
It's fine.
Anyways, would you like to listen to some music? I have my phone with Spotify connected to the car radio.
Sure thing. Could you put on You're My Heart, You're My Soul by Modern Talking? It's me and Dylan's favorite song in common.
Alright.
Atenció! El proper vol a Masonville embarcarà a la Porta 9.
Atención. El próximo vuelo a Masonville embarcará por la Puerta 9.
Attention. Next flight to Masonville will be boarding on Gate 9.
That's our flight. At least we made it in time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived to Masonville. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you have a nice day.
Damas y caballeros. Ya hemos llegado a Masonville. Gracias por volar con nosotros hoy. Esperamos que tengan un buen día. Senyores i senyors. Ja hem arribat a Masonville. Gràcies per volar amb nosaltres avui. Esperem que tingueu un bon dia.
Wow. Don't you believe it, honey? My first weekend in Barcelona has passed quickly. Now, I'm back in Masonville City, where we belong.
That's right. Anyways, how were my relatives in Barcelona?
Fantastic. Thankfully they treated me with respect, because they know that I'm your boyfriend.
Correct. And everyone around me deserves kindness and respect. Anyways though, where would you like to eat? At your house, or at some kind of cheap restaurant?
I choose to eat at some cheap restaurant in the center, and I know where. At this point, my aunt probably has made lunch for the others in the house.
And where to possibly?
Did you know that this is one of my favorite places to eat? It's one of the cheapest Chinese restaurants around Masonville.
Really? You haven't told me that before. What's good about this place is that it has so much good reviews for a cheap restaurant. I looked it up just now.
Oh. Sorry if I haven't told you about it. Anyways, before all this mess happened in 2023, we did come here to eat sometimes after shopping in central Masonville. It was amazing. But now, it's the first time I come by myself, but as well as with my one and only adorable chick.
Wow. Thank you for those compliments you said about me. And you're my beautiful and handsome man that I have ever met in my entire life.
That's no problem. And thank you for those compliments as well.
Dylan? Aurora? You're back.
That's right. We are back. Our weekend out was so good.
And not to mention that Barcelona's streets are so unique compared to many other cities.
Oh really? What about them?
So many big avenues had tunnels, which honestly, it feels like if you were driving the metro instead of the car.
As well as some inclined streets and some descents with escalators, lifts, and even funiculars for that matter.
Hey, that's great. Anyways, let me call the others down here to let them know that you finally arrived.
Dylan. Oh my god. We missed you so much. At least you had some time to video chat with us when you both were out.
That's right. Maybe one day, we should rent ourselves a 9-spot van whilst you and Aurora go on a sportage, and go to Barcelona. Actually, I was just kidding. How are we gonna use our cars to Barcelona? We are literally in England and Barcelona is in Spain.
Eleanor, that was a good joke. We would have to make the reservations and everything else. I don't know how we would afford a stay-ins in Barcelona.
And for 10 people, it would be hard to do. That would cost a lot of money.
He's right. Anyways, let's pack all of your stuff out of the car. All of us are gonna help you as well.
Great thinking, Peter. Let's get this shit over with.
I actually had so much fun this weekend in Barcelona. I can't even wait to tell this to everyone in college tomorrow.
Yeah. It was so much fun. I did finally get to leave Masonville for a while after our parents' arrest. I honestly felt like it. And also, leaving Masonville for a while with my fiancée for the first time was the best feeling I have ever had in my life. Oh, and by the way, honey, could you excuse me for a moment? I have to use the restroom. I'll be right back, otherwise I'm gonna piss my pants.
Okay, babe. Just take all the time you need. The coast is clear. Now time to give my boyfriend a very big special surprise that he'd never forget. So viewers, what do you think of my new look? Comment below.
Holy shit. Babe, you look so amazing. Is this some kind of surprise you wanted to give me ever since we went to Barcelona?
Yeah! I honestly felt like giving myself a bit of remake, so I'd look even more attractive to you. Does this new look make me look attractive and beautiful?
Of course. I also like the fact that you gave yourself those lime green highlights in your hair as well. I'm also glad that you no longer wear a tank top as well.
Thank you so much. Anyways, babe, should we kiss as a way to cheer for my new look?
Yeah. I don't see that as a problem.